Hey everybody, Jeff here, Aromatics. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to do a little pipe hack, if you will, or should I say a pipe filter hack. So it seems like lately there has been quite a few people talking about pipe filters, which is strange because usually there hasn't been much talk about pipe filters because a lot of us here in North America don't use pipe filters, and even a lot of people frown upon the use of pipe filters. Maybe they think only amateurs need them or people who don't know how to smoke slow, etc. But just recently, I've come back to these, not just filters, but specifically the charcoal filters, and I have found that even though I smoke dry most of the time, like I don't have a problem with smoking dry, and I have used other filters like the Brigham hardwood filters, which I'll show you here in the Brigham system pipes. And I've also tried the Medico, which are pretty popular, the paper filters, which I can show you here. And those filters were fine and helpful for giving you a dry smoke. But I never found them to be really that effective for preventing tongue bite or tongue fatigue. Now, tongue bite, or should I say tongue fatigue, is a problem for me too, in the way that sometimes I'm smoking a blend and I'm getting all the tastes and flavors, and then all of a sudden this chemical reaction starts happening and I just start to lose the taste and flavors with certain tobaccos. And it doesn't matter how dry I smoke, it just seems to happen. And I've found that these charcoal filters really seem to do a great job on helping me be able to smoke, more, and even certain blends that usually give me problems, and it alleviates most of those issues. Not always in every circumstance, but I found it to be a really great help, and specifically with the charcoal filters. So what I was going to do is show you how I refill these charcoal filters. I've briefly used them in the past, but I just never continued to use them because I figured that it wasn't really cost effective. Like you'd always have to buy a box, and it just seemed like it was a pain. But then I thought to myself, it's just activated charcoal, and that's super easy to come by. Let me see. Actually, I picked up. There's a box right here. You can get them at. It's about this big at an aquarium store. It's the same stuff that comes in the filters, and it cost me, what was this box? $5.49. And this box will probably last a lifetime of filters, if not. It's $5 a box, and that's just at the local store. I'm sure you could get like even cheaper than that for a big bulk bag of it. So I was going to show you how I refill them. I'll turn my camera around here in a minute. Now I'll show you what these filters look like. Here's a 9mm one. This is the most common, and that's just a Sanda brand. And it's got ceramic caps on each end, paper around the outside, and in the middle is little charcoal bits, which I'll show you in a little bit. What else? Oh, and but a lot of people don't even know that they actually even make a 6mm version. And I try these because they fit a lot of pipes. Most corncob pipes they'll fit, and most 6mm pipes as well. But I found that these ones have a really tight draw, and I was having a hard time getting used to it. But I found that once I refill them, I can refill them with a little bit bigger pieces of charcoal, and I find that the draw is much better and pleasant. I really like it. I find that these charcoal filters just I'll talk about that at the end of my video. I'll show you what I do and how I refill these things, and I'll be right back in a minute. Okay, everybody. So in order to refill your filters, what I have here is I have some activated charcoal, which what I did was when you buy it, it kind of comes pretty dusty and dirty, I find. So what I do first before I use it is I take a strainer and I put the charcoal in the strainer, and then I just rinse it out with some, you can just use regular water, but what I use is the distilled water. That way you don't get any impurities in your charcoal, because I'm sure your charcoal will actually filter that out as well. So if you want it as fresh as possible, just use fresh water. And then I just let it dry on its own in this container right here. So this has been dried forever. And I use a spoon. I used to fill them with my fingers, but then they get all black, and then all your filters get all dirty on the outside. So what I do is use a spoon now. So what I have here is I have one of these 10mm filters, and I already emptied it out, but I'll show you. I just take this cap off, Now, in order to get this cap off the first time, sometimes you have to peel just a little bit of the paper off, and then you can take a pin, like this bobby pin right here, stick it in the hole and dig it out. Once it's come out once, it's easy to do it again. So what I do from there is I take a spoon instead of my fingers. It's a little cleaner that way. And just fill up the filter to whatever you want it filled up to. Roll it around, tap it down if you want. That's a little bit too much, about 3/4. Yeah, I have to be able to get the cap back on. And there, put the cap back on. And there you go, you've got a refilled filter. So a problem that some people might have is if you smoke too wet, when you remove the filter, it'll be too wet to reuse. So what you could maybe do in that circumstance is just bring an extra filter with you and swap it out before it gets too wet to reuse. I don't have a problem usually, just I don't smoke wet. So, but I know some people have said that these things do get wet on them. So I imagine if you just take an extra filter, then you can swap them out and then it won't get too wet. Then they'll dry on their own and you can reuse them as many times as you feel comfortable. So, and also the same thing with the little 6mm filters. And like I think I said earlier, these are pretty tight for the draw. But when you refill them, I find that the draw is much better. So, and you can even fill it up less if you want to have even better draw. Although you won't have as much filtering capability, but that's up to you. Now the funny thing, I was reading about charcoal, and I guess that 1 gram of charcoal has the same amount of surface area as a football field. So they can really filter out a lot of impurities. But I find that the filters don't change the taste of the tobacco at all. For me, it depends on, some people find it mutes the flavor. I find that it actually enhances the flavor. I'm not sure why it does that, but I get a more pure flavor. Although I have noticed that I was smoking a menthol tobacco, and I noticed that it actually filtered out a lot of the menthol flavor. I could taste the tobacco fine, but just that menthol it seemed like the charcoal was actually filtering that out, because when I removed the filter, that menthol just hit me. So I found that pretty interesting. Even still, this whole, just at least if you have a problem with tongue bite and you want to try something, even if you don't want to try it all the time, just with certain blends, I would really recommend trying these charcoal filters. I've really been enjoying them, and most of the time, that's pretty much all I use. So I find that this is a regular type of cob, and these usually fit in there pretty good. Yeah, there we go. So I got that to fit in there. So the 6mm work fine in the cobs. And I guess one of my viewers was saying that he has a problem with them getting stuck. I haven't had a problem with that, but if it is, what you could maybe do is just take a drill bit and just open this up just a hair. That shouldn't be that hard if you're really that interested, and just loosen it up a little bit. They're just cobs, so I'm not too scared to do little modifications. So yeah, that's about it. That's my little hack and my take on these charcoal filters. I've been really enjoying them, and yeah, so hopefully this might help you save a little bit of money and might change your mind, and maybe some of you people that didn't think of filters might try them out. So okay, till next time, you guys take care. Aromatics signing out.